I've spoken many times over the last several weeks in regard to the issue at hand, and clearly the time continues to escape us, in which the day of reckoning is coming in regard to the debt ceiling issue. And I've said from the very beginning that, in my view, it would be irresponsible not to raise the debt ceiling, but it would be as irresponsible, if not more so, to raise the debt ceiling without reducing the spending, getting our books more in balance, and moving us in the right direction toward a balanced budget in the future. I recognize that this can't be accomplished overnight, and I recognize that there are those who bring different points of view and perspective to the Senate floor. This is a body of people who represent individuals who live in all 50 states and have points of view and philosophies and backgrounds that are different than perhaps the constituents that I represent from the state of Kansas. But I do believe that the time has come for us to reach an agreement, and we anxiously await what action the House of Representatives may take. And in light of the point in time that we're in, I wanted to share with my colleagues in the Senate a letter, an email that I received from one of my constituents, a Kansan named Gina Reynolds. Gina is from Shawnee, and she expresses this point of view, I think, very appropriately for where we are today. And in asking Gina if I could share with you what she wrote to me, she indicated this was the very first time she'd ever written a member of Congress. And here's what she had to say that I hope we will take into account. I firmly believe that the United States needs to start living within our means. However, I am frustrated beyond belief with the inability of Congress to do their jobs and ensure that we do not throw the country back into recession. While I and my husband are employed, we feel lucky to have jobs. We work hard, pay our taxes, and try to raise our children the right way. It absolutely boggles my mind that we cannot come to a compromise on the debt ceiling issue that is so critical to the financial markets and the average American citizen. For it is us, the middle class, that will suffer the most, from lost jobs to lost 401ks and lost savings. We need real tax reform, real entitlement reform, for even though I am 42 years old, I do not believe I will ever see a dime of Social Security and real spending cuts. Congress has had months to work on this issue, and now the time is to act in the best interest of the people, not for the political interest groups and not for some ideology. It is sad to say, but I honestly don't know if my children will have a better future than me. I know that there are a lot of tough decisions yet to be made regarding spending and taxes, but we only make it harder by defaulting on our country's obligations. I am fiscally conservative and generally vote Republican, but I do not blindly follow any one path. I try to use my vote wisely and pledge my loyalty to my God and my country, not a political party. I believe we have the greatest country on earth, but our inability to compromise, to stop acting like spoiled children, saddens me. The Founding Fathers were able to compromise and write a document that has stood the test of time for 235 years. Can we not now do the same? Please do the right thing for the American people, the ones frustrated and angry and hurt by this self-produced impasse. I want to thank Gina Reynolds for her message to me and to members of the Senate, for taking the time to communicate with her United States Senator, with me as a member of Congress. And I think she, in many ways, expresses a conservative yet common sense point of view that so many Kansans have. And I often think too many times we are caught in a circumstance that we find an inability to resolve. Sometimes we are trapped by our political party, and that, in my view, while we ought to have strong opinions and ought to have a solid philosophy, we need to make certain that we're motivated for the right reasons and the good of America is at the forefront of our minds. I indicated in my maiden speech when I first spoke here on the Senate floor now 4 months ago as a new United States Senator that when I need a perspective as to what we need to do here, and sometimes we get bogged down in those things that are a lot less important, I'll put my walking shoes on, my running shoes, and I'll walk up to the Lincoln Memorial. And now you go by the World War II Memorial, you walk on past the Vietnam Wall, and you walk back by the Korean War Memorial. And in each one of those locations, I am reminded that no person memorialized in those settings fought and died, sacrificed for their country for purposes of Republicans or Democrats, but because they believed they had an obligation to serve our country, and because they believed that in that service, they had the opportunity to make life better for their family and for future generations of Americans. We need to remind ourselves, we need that perspective that it's not the fight between Republicans and Democrats, it's about doing the right thing for America. We owe those who sacrificed in military service for our country, and particularly those who died in that service, that kind of obligation that we will do what is right. And I know my colleagues share that point of view. I think from time to time we have to be reminded about what the priorities have to be, what the focus must be. Madam President, I again appreciate the sentiments expressed by this Kansan, and would indicate that we as American citizens, and certainly me as a member of the United States Senate, our primary responsibility as citizens is to make certain that we pass on to the next generation of Americans this country called the United States of America, in which we maintain the freedoms and liberties guaranteed by our Constitution, and that we allow the next generation of Americans, our children, our grandchildren, and young men and women yet to be born, people we don't even know, the opportunity to pursue the American dream. And I think this Kansas constituent of mine has expressed those sentiments very well, and I look forward to working with my colleagues to see that we do the right thing for the future of our nation, and that this next generation of Americans can also pursue that thing we all idolize and believe in, the American dream.